back, everyone. Today we find our hapless hero Felden just come back from a loot run. He's been out collecting containers. Shelves, crates, wall lockers, large shop shelves, all those sorts of things. Now, first off, we're going to put a metal shelving unit just down here in the corner. Then we're going to go back and grab a couple of crates out of the pickup truck. Sadly, this ATM over here next to the pinball machine is not quite right. We think it's a hologram or something like that because we can't move it, can't pick it up, we can't do anything to it. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop a couple of crates down on this thing right here and just hide it out of the way because, you know, why not? Lovely, nice and hidden. Now it's onto the shop shelves. I think we're going to grab one and put it right here in the middle of this space. And then we're going to grab the second one and pop it right here next to it. It's a nice matching pair right there. Lovely. Now it's onto the green cabinets. Now these sort of look like secure cabinets, so we're going to use these for weapons most likely. Probably put general guns and ammo and overflow and such in that one. And then down here in our sort of personal area we're going to put this one for our own stash of firearms to use. And lastly we've got this metal shelf. And we're going to pop this down here near the other one. But there's actually some space enough that if we get two more, this place is going to end up looking really nice. Properly well organised and whatnot. Lovely. And typically, just as I pop into the loo for a quick wash, a helicopter shows up. And as you can hear, it's blasting away at the nearby zombies. So, with that in mind, I decided to stay in and fiddle around with our weapons and inventory a little bit, go through some stuff. And you know, it was a good thing I did, because we found this shotgun with a suppressor on it. That'll come in handy. Now, extra guns are going in this cabinet over here. We reloaded everything and sorted some stuff out, put bullets in the magazines and guns and everything. Now this one, that's got tools in it, and we've got some extra ones and weapons set aside here. These boxes down here next to the pinball machine, those are for crafting and electrical crafting. And then the metal locker here, that is going to be for our metalwork and automotive needs. Oh, and we shoved all the farming supplies on this shelf back here in the cupboard. After all that, I got a bit sad, tired and hungry. And, oh, he's a bit unhappy as well. Let's go find some food, that'll cheer me up. Food always cheers me up. So long as it's not a rotten, dead mouse, because, yeah, that would be rude. A nice vegetable salad. Nom 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 nom. Tasty. So now it's time for a quick game of pinball, because I want to be a wizard. A pinball wizard. Hey! And even after that I was still a bit bored, so went ahead and watched a cooking tape on the telly and read a book for a bit. Might as well learn something while we're sitting around, eh? And now it's back to work again. We've pulled the truck around to the side of the entrance, or to the side entrance rather, and decided to make use of those gravel bags I'd nicked from the farm supply shop the other day. So we're going to pop out some of these down here, empty them out, create a little bit of a driveway. Now, it's not the best coverage in the world, but it's certainly a start. We can maybe go and dig up some gravel later on from somewhere else, and continue it down to the street, perhaps. And then it's back in again to read a book and watch an episode of Car Zone. So 2 mechanic skill points later, and it's off to bed. And after forgetting to record the part where I used my newfound skills to hotwire this SUV, I take our newly acquired vehicle, drive around with the EP09 like some kind of strange four-wheeled metal beast marking its territory. Then we get out and attach it so we can tow it off to the petrol station for a much needed refuel. And once we've got fuel in the SUV and the EP09, it's back to base to start work on mechanics. But before we do that and get all greasy and dirty with the cars, we're actually going to do a spot of farming in the morning to get that underway. Righto, let's get some supplies. So we're going to need to grab some seeds, a trowel at the very least, and get things going from here. Now that we've got all that, let's head outside and start digging some furrows. Now, it's been ages since I've done farming, so I'm going to experiment a little bit here and dig out 4 sets of 8 tile plots, because we got 4 different types of seeds out, and we'll put whatever we can into these individually and see what we can get out of it. And at least I've remembered to open the seed packets this time before trying to plant anything. That's always fun. Now it looks like we get 50 seeds per packet, but I did notice here that each crop seems to have different amounts that it needs per plot. So like the cabbages here need, I think it was 9 seeds per plot, so we didn't get all 8 filled up. Similar story with the carrots as well, although I think that was a bit less. So we got a few more spots of carrots. The tomatoes and the potatoes, they go much further though. Now I could grab some more seeds from the thing, but for now it's just a little bit of testing before we go out and find an actual farm to take over, and possibly a tractor and a seeder to work with, so that'll be cool. And now that that's done, we need to get these things watered. So grab the watering can, run inside here and fill it up with water from our sink, because the one outside, for some reason I can't plumb that in. But we may sort that out when we get a rain collector. We shall see in the future with that. Now, looking at the info page on these different plots, can't really see much at the moment because my farming skill is basically 0. So that'll change hopefully, but much like bad brakes on a car, I'm not going to let that slow me down. And after a lot of back and forth to the sink, picked up a couple more watering cans and tried to speed the process up, we finally got everything sorted out, well watered and happy. So now it's time for a snooze, get some more reading done till the sun comes up, and then it's outside to tinker with the cars. Felt and decided it was time to do some mechanics. So we shut the bonnet on the EP09. Okay, so as you can see, what we're doing here now is some mechanics. Yes, and it's an interesting skill to skill up, this one, because you can't repeat tasks ad infinitum like you can with, say, carpentry, where you can put barricades on windows, take them off, put them on, take them off, put them on, and constantly get XP points from that. With mechanics, the way it works is you can perform a task on a vehicle once per day. So right now what we're doing is going through the headlights and the tail lights. We're pulling out the light bulbs and then replacing them back into the car. Now you can do that once per vehicle per day. So having 4 vehicles here, and plus the other 2 outside if I work on them, that can actually add up fairly quickly. Now the interesting thing also with this is the vehicles have different categories as well. As you can see, the EP09 is a class as a heavy duty type, which is usually things like the bigger vehicles, pickup trucks, SUVs, I believe the minivan is as well, we'll have a look at that in a bit. And then you've got sports cars, which are usually 2-door, faster cars. And then you've got standard cars, or standard vehicles, which are just generally yeah, sort of all the other ones. I'm not sure if there's any other categories besides those three, but basically what that means is you also need different skill sets for those different vehicles. So for example, the heavy duty one requires specific, you have to read magazines to get kind of like recipes almost, but you get specific skills which enable you to do more to that particular vehicle type, in essence. The cool thing is though, depending on what your mechanic skill is, depends on what you can do to the vehicles in terms of taking parts off and then putting parts on, and actually repairing parts as well. Now, one of the interesting things is when you first start and you have pretty much no skill points whatsoever, you can, with just a screwdriver, take out the radio, the two headlights, the two tail lights, and the battery as well. Now, I actually forgot to do the battery on the first couple of vehicles here, but yeah, you can absolutely do that. And you do that once per day on as many vehicles as you can, and you'll get your XP up pretty quick. Luckily for us, we saw that video the other night and got 2 points in mechanics pretty quick, so that's given us a bit of a boost. Now, once you get certain recipes and things, you can do other sort of fairly basic tasks, like removing the seats, for example. And once you've removed the seats, you then get the option of repairing them. And if I remember right, this sport car that we're in, the Vectra Lux 80, that one I think I have the skills for, and other things too. Depending on also what your skill level is, certain components you can actually damage, or there's a chance to damage them when you take them off, and possibly when you put them on, but I think it's specifically when you take them off. So what you can actually do is, if you find different cars in different states of repair, you can take parts from one that are good and put them in a different one that has bad parts. So you can essentially build one really good car, or really good vehicle, by using the different bits and bobs that you'll find around here. So that's very handy. So yeah, we're going to carry on with this, and now the one thing that you don't seem to get XP for, when I think about it, is inflating the tyres. For some reason that doesn't give you any XP for towards mechanic skill point skill, but yeah, other than that, you do as much as you can once per day on all the different vehicles, and yeah, Bob's your uncle. Read the skill books, get some stuff up, take parts off. So long as you've got tools like the jack and the lug wrench, I think it is, you can actually jack the car up and take the wheels off, and then potentially the brakes and the suspension too, which can also be quite exciting. And yeah, more parts you change, more XP you get. Okay, so we're just going to pop out here to this little Jeep that we've got, and we are going to just run through the same basic set of things that we did, change the light bulbs and battery and radio and stuff. And this also applies to trailers as well. Depending on the size of the trailer will obviously depend on the sort of amount of panels and options and parts that you have to mess with. That little small trailer we've got up at the back with the red truck there, I think only has wheels and possibly a trunk condition as well. But yeah, so that's also worth checking into, because that can affect how good the trailers work as well, and how easy they are to tow. And it turns out, after all that farming and mechanics work we've been doing, we've actually hit our weight goal as well. We are now sub 85 kilos, which is brilliant. That means we are no longer classed as overweight, and that also removes some of the negative effects of that trait as well, which I think were easier fatigue or slower recovery, things like that. So that is definitely a good thing for us, which is wonderful. And on that epic note, I hope you've all enjoyed this, and I hope we'll see you next time. Farewell, friends.